Hello, and welcome to another barnstorming, ass-tickling episode of Spurt Weekly. And this week I've mostly been listening to people bang on about, oh, it's less than a month till Christmas now. And yes, indeed, we are just 4 weeks away from that glorious day where downing booze with breakfast is socially acceptable, and indeed quite strongly encouraged as well. Try cracking open a can of lager with your Cocoa Pops any other day of the year, you'll probably just get filthy looks. Booze and sausages wrapped in bacon as well, double pork for the win. But anyway, it's still bloody November, alright? So we're not talking about Christmas just yet, especially as phone manufacturers don't seem to have got the message about no launches post-September, please. I mean, I really like spending my November and my December, and preferably my January as well, just tucked up with Teddy, working my way through a massive stack of Mills and Boon books.
Oh, Gregory, take me now, you filthy scoundrel.
Not just yet, Doreen. First I've got to go rescue those orphans from that burning building, but then I will be back to ravish you. There'll be so much ravishing you won't know what hit you. But instead, Uncle Spurt has a massive stack of smartphones to work his way through, so it doesn't look like going to be getting a Christmas holiday this year. But again, banging on about Christmas. Shut up, just get on with the show, right? Okay, fine. Spurt Weekly. Now, the most interesting launch of the week definitely came courtesy of Poco, who revealed its most affordable handset yet, the Poco M3, which you can actually buy starting from today. Just €149 or $149 bags you a 6.5-inch blower boasting a full HD plus screen, stereo speakers, that same Snapdragon 662 chipset as the Moto G9 Power and Play, a 6,000 mAh battery. Yeah, a fucking 6,000 mAh battery. Poco really ain't around here. Complete with 18-watt fast charging, and lastly a triple lens rear camera, all with that fresh MIUI 12 flavour and a bonerific yellow paint job. You can also opt to pay another €20 or $20 for double the storage. That's 128 gigs instead of 64. And in fact, if you actually dip your wick these first few days while the Poco M3 is on sale, you'll get a further €20 or dollars off that asking price. I do have a Poco M3 inbound at the moment, but the last time I checked it was somewhere in Germany. Hopefully it's on its way to bloody London, but yeah, that video should be going live any day now, fingers crossed. And while launching the Poco M3, Poco also announced this week that it was splitting from Xiaomi and going fully independent. Oh, well, little Poco, all grown up like. So I'll definitely be keeping tabs on all of that shenanigans, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens with the software on Poco smartphones going forwards as well, because at the moment they use a kind of Poco-fied version of Xiaomi's own MIUI launcher, so whether they stick with something similar to that or whether they go more of a stock Android vibe, definitely be great to see. And either way, best of luck, Poco, you mental bastards. And in further cheapy smartphone news, you'll never guess who else launched a budget blower this week. Go on, you'll never get it in a million. Oh yeah, you're right, it's Motorola. The Moto E7 comes hot on the heels of the Moto E7 Plus, which was launched a couple of months back. Surely it should have been the other way around, but never mind. It costs just 99 quid, so the specs are unsurprisingly proper basic. You get a 6.5-inch HD plus screen, a 4,000 mAh battery, a Mediatek Helios processor backed by just 2 gigs of RAM, and a 48 megapixel primary camera, all wrapped up in a colourful splash-proof frame. The Motorola Moto E7 won't exactly be a smooth sailor by any means, but hopefully should be fine for your basic needs like messaging, things like that, on a really tight budget. Great news if you've already splashed all of your savings on Christmas plonk. And now it's time, regrettably, once again, for the part of the show that brings all of the boys to the yard and then mugs them and kicks them right in the cock. It's viewer comments. Way hey! Viewer comments. And last week we had absolutely bugger tons of comments, so thank you very much to everyone who left a message. Had a couple of people there asking why 2016 sucked mega balls. Well, even if you completely ignore any political hijinks like Trump and that referendum, 2016 still decorated our doorstep with plenty of other burning bags of dog shit. So for instance, there was that god-awful Paul Feig reboot of Ghostbusters. The cost of a Freddo bar rose to 25p, which was of course a national outrage. Dabbing became ridiculously popular for all of 2 months, thanks to arseholes basically. Brangelina split up in 2016, for God's sakes. How does nobody remember that? I literally hid underneath my duvet with a crate of Captain Morgan's and a box of Kleenex. For crying. You dirty pervs, nothing else. Inconsolable I was. And Terry Wogan died, for goodness sakes. Terry Pissin Wogan, and David Bowie, and Gene Wilder, and Chuffin Prince. I honestly had him pegged down as living till he was about 200 or something. And seriously, even Samsung smartphones decided they couldn't hack it anymore and decided to spontaneously combust rather than going on living. That's the kind of year that 2016 was. But yeah, admittedly, at the time it seemed like a little bit of a crap year, but in retrospect we should have been going out hugging each other and celebrating like mad c***s ahead of the shit show that would be inevitably 2020. Which does make me wonder if in 2024 we'll be looking back on this year with a kind of glassy-eyed nostalgia. Hey Martha, remember when we got to just kick about our flats all day long and our biggest concerns were running out of things to actually watch on Netflix and our elderly or infirmed relatives possibly dying a horrible death? Ah, great days. Sure beats the hell out of this being enslaved by alien centipedes malarkey. I'm well sick of massaging their horrible slimy feet all day. Anyway, just a little random 2016 recap for y'all. More comments. David said, watching the episode when an ad for Regina toilet roll came up. Regina? For a second, I genuinely thought it was an ad for Regan hair loss treatment. That'd be a great bit of targeted advertising right there. I love how YouTube thinks that all my viewers are in dire need of toilet roll. And why are bog roll companies even advertising right now? I mean, seriously, go to my local Tesco's, go to that aisle. It's more empty than a f***ing Nickelback concert. People will not stop panic buying that shit, and I don't understand why. They must be sat there in their homes making forts out of toilet rolls. The one friggin' company to do well out of bloody COVID. Red Shutter Photography says, I made up a rule when I was young, always date a woman with smaller hands because small hands makes other things look bigger. Some strong life advice there, kiddies. Henry says, all I want for Christmas is a phone with pop-up camera, 90Hz display and a headphone jack. Does one exist? Ooh. So the last phone with a pop-up camera that I remember reviewing was the Oppo Reno 2Z. That definitely didn't have a 90Hz display because that was more of a budget offer. And you've got the OnePlus 7T Pro from last year. That had the pop-up camera and the 90Hz, but it did not have a headphone jack. The Zenfone 7 has the pop-up flippy camera thing, and that's definitely at least 90Hz, but I don't think that has a headphone jack either. So sorry Henry, it looks like your Christmas might just end up being a big sack of reindeer shit, basically, unless anyone else can think of a phone that fits all of those requirements, some magical device. Definitely let us know in the comments down below. Please try and rescue Henry's festive season. And now, of course, all I've got stuck in my head is that friggin' Mariah Carey song. All I want for Christmas is a phone with a pop-up camera, 90Hz display and a headphone jack. Next up, Shenro Gaiman says, when Uncle Spurt gets old, he will look like Phil Collins. Well, at least you said when I get old. And technically, that's not a crap celebrities that I look like. That's a crap celebrities that I might look like in the future. So I'm not even going to bother with the friggin' jingle. Screw it. I'm on strike this week. No crap celebrities. Arnie continues. PS, thoughts on iPhone 12 mini's battery life? Well, you're in luck. My full review went live earlier this week. But if you can't be bothered to watch all 9 glorious minutes of that, basically, it was better than I expected. I was kind of worried it'd be like the iPhone SE 2020, where you won't even make it past, dinner time with having to plug the bloody thing in. Thankfully, most days it'll last you all the way until you are tucked up with Teddy at night. Although I did hear reports from some of our US cousins that if you're using the millimeter wave 5G on those things, apparently that can help sap the battery a bit faster. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to test that. On the subject of what viewers of TechSpurt should be called, which came up last week, Mark Flower says, I'm going to get some TechSpurt I'm a Spurter merch made. The logo will be a ball sack with one perfectly smooth gonad and the other one an extremely hairy one. I mean, that sounds great and all, but that's definitely not helping out with the whole people thinking we're some sort of weird sex cult thing. Although, to be fair, it's also a lot more imaginative than most YouTubers' crappy merch. Next up, Aim Further said, you should call us the Spurtons. The Spurtons, ooh, I like that. Only the hard and strong may call themselves Spurtons, fnar fnar. Or actually, I guess just people who choose to watch some slaphead twat bang on about tech on YouTube. Next up, Mark says, better to punch a unicorn or buy an iPhone 12. Oh mate, you do not want to f*** with them unicorns, believe me. I mean, first of all, if you aim wrong, you've basically turned your fist into a shish kebab. Next up, Jeremy says, have you ever toyed with the idea of doing a podcast? Yeah, I would love to do a tech podcast full time. I've done plenty of guest spots in the past. I've been on Across the Podcast with Sam and Matt a couple of times on a Sunday evening. Great podcast for any tech fans out there. The Noise Cancelling podcast from Tech Radar, that's always a good listen as well. Usually goes out live on a Friday. And I did Guy Cocker's podcast as well. I'm not sure if he's still doing that, actually. I have to double check. I'm haven't seen an episode tick through in a while. But yeah, I'd love to if I could find a co-host and a regular time slot to do it, but as it is, time is incredibly tight. I'd basically either have to give up even more sleep or more valuable drinking time. Although I suppose I could basically just shoot the podcast while drinking, therefore killing two birds with one stone. Maybe one day. Next up, Brando says, I think you might be losing it, mate. I mean, I have to disagree, sir. To lose it insinuates that I had to actually have it in the first place. Next up, Tosana, sorry if I mauled the pronunciation of that, says, what do northerners smell like? I've been told my town smells like Haribo because we have the UK factory. Holy shit! There's a town in the UK which has a Haribo factory which smells of f***ing Haribo. Why am I not living there? Where the hell is this? I've got to look this up. Haribo Factory UK. That's a bit of Pontefract in Yorkshire. Oh man, I got to visit this place. They've got a factory outlet store. Oh my god. Oh no. The next headline down. Coronavirus outbreak in Haribo factory as infected staff forced to self-isolate. Ugh. God damn it, 2020. Seriously, just do one already. Oh man, I wonder if you get high from all that sugary Haribo smoke just being pumped out of great big chimneys. That's all I can envisage now, just like colourful smoke pouring out of chimneys, all the residents dancing around in their underwear. Oh, and to actually answer your question as well, what do most northerners actually smell like? Obviously, I can't speak for the majority of northerners, but my own personal musk is probably more of an eau de scotch with a bit of a hefty pang of despair mixed in there too. Next up, Israel says, did Motorola launch another 50 phones this week? Oldie baldy. Not just the one this week, mate. Absolute slackers. Come on, get off your arses. Already packing up for the festive holidays, are we, Moto? Bunch of wusses. Next up, Braintree Kickboxing Academy. Sounds cool. Asks, the Huawei P30 Pro new edition is 499 quid. Do you think that's a good deal? Yeah, I mean, I've definitely still got a lot of love for the P30 Pro. You know, that camera tech holds up well for one. Absolutely fantastic. Great battery life, gorgeous OLED screen and everything. Obviously, you don't get some of the fresher features that you get in a lot of new 2020 handsets, like a 90Hz display. You don't get 5G support, things like that. And also, that Kirin 980 chipset should be pretty much collecting its pension by now. It's well getting on. But you know what? It still does the job. Last time I tested out a Kirin 980 smartphone, still played games absolutely fine, top detail levels, all that good stuff. Right, I better make this the last one because, again, time is really, really cracking. I've got that stack of smartphones, which I told you all about, to get on with. So last one for the week. Nobby Noel says, are you pissed? As in the US sense or the UK sense of the word. And if you're asking me if I smash back a few fingers of the finest single malt scotch before staggering onto camera, well, I really don't want to ruin that whole behind the scenes lustre, the mystery and the magic of what goes into making an episode of Spurt Weekly, or to be more accurate, what goes into me before making an episode of Spurt Weekly. So I'll just leave it at that. So once again, thank you so much to everyone who left a comment last week. As I say, there were absolutely dozens and dozens and dozens there. So I couldn't get through them all. Really sorry if I didn't get to yours, but please do leave your comments down below for next week as well, and we'll try and smash through as many of those as possible. Just enough time for a quick look ahead to next week, and the big thing in my diary for next week is the Qualcomm Snapdragon Summit, where normally I'd be in lovely sunny Hawaii, sat on a beach in my skinnies, yeah, just talking at the camera about a bunch of chipsets. This year, of course, I'll still be sat in my skinnies, but I'll be in this very room here. I'll probably mix up a couple of pina coladas or something to try and make myself feel vaguely more tropical. But anyway, you can expect the latest Snapdragon flagship chipset to replace the Snapdragon 865 and 865 Plus, so stay tuned for more info on all of that. And also on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I've got a UK time, Vodafone Smart Tech product reveal, some sort of tie-in with Disney apparently, so that could be quite interesting. Potentially some sort of Vodafone tablet device with a Disney Plus tie-in, who knows, that'll be interesting to see. And I think that's bloody it. Hopefully my Poco M3 will show up if it hasn't already shown up by the time you're watching this. Fingers crossed it bloody well. And even if not, still got plenty of other tech to review, so don't worry, there'll be lots of content again next week. OnePlus Nord N10 full review is coming. Been using that for a couple of days now. I've got the Dell XPS 13, which I haven't got around to reviewing just yet, so hopefully I'll be able to smash them with that, all kinds of stuff. So have yourselves a lovely weekend, everyone. Enjoy whatever tasty tipples you've got lined up. Don't drink all the Christmas booze just yet, because we've got several weeks of 2020 still to get through. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, ding that notifications bell, and yeah, have yourselves a great weekend. Cheers everyone, love you.